peculiar. What an interesting setup we have here. This, 2003 league champ. Very interesting. It's behind. Oh, that's hideous. Don't shoot that. Oh, this appears to be some notes here. Oh, well, hi. Oh, the FTFL. I've heard about this. Now, fantasy football is, I don't know, mostly predictable. It's not really my forte. I really don't like having everything be the same. I don't like having everything kind of fall into place as planned. In fantasy football for years has been all about quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers, and everyone does the same, and everyone's really afraid of doing any sort of things that might, upset the apple cart, shake it up a bit. But I've heard about your league. No, your league is different. Your league has one person who is willing to just take caution and throw it into the air. Little bitty pieces of paper, just toss it up just to see where they land, where they blow. John Linkowitz, you have turned fantasy football on its head by introducing just a little bit of chaos. See, you kept a kicker. And everyone is left thinking, well, maybe I should have kept a kicker. And maybe John's onto something and he's got everything all figured out. And by flipping everything upside down and making everyone wonder, all of a sudden you find yourself in power. You're the one now who everyone wants to be like, because nobody wants to be wrong. They all want to be right. But the problem with this is that's not right. That's right, folks. It is I, Brett Sieber, the host of the FTFL Weekly Update, the owner of the Hulkamaniacs, and by goodness, happy Halloween to each and every one of you, including all of those people who appear to be in costume. Yet it is just another night working, keeping the mean streets clean in Park Rapids, Dilly. Week 8 is in the books. We have 5 weeks to go in the regular season. Teams are really now starting to show their true colors. Some spots seem to be spoken for, while others maybe are up for grabs. One thing I know for certain, still no Le'Veon Bell. Andy finds himself after this week 2-6. His keeper Le'Veon Bell never showed up. What a bum. Jerick McKinnon hurt his knee. What are you going to do about that? It's been a tough road to hoe since then. Again, I mentioned 2 teams now with 6 wins, one away from 7. That magic number that'll get you in the playoffs. Another tough loss for the Hulkamaniacs. 2 weeks where I've lost by less than 10 points. Fallen now after being 4-2, back to 4-4. More on that later. And of course, being Halloween. Who are the real teams? Who are the teams that are pretending? And who, might I add, are the Jokers? Why so serious, you ask? Because with 5 weeks to go, things are getting heated up, and here we go. Mana, 5-2, taking on the Pit of Misery, Dilly at 2-5. Oh, Mana, they are absolutely for really in Pit of Misery, flat out Joker. Woo! 116-89. Markster notches yet another victory, 6-2 on the season. James Conner. Now, the funny thing about James Conner is Markster picked him up when we realized Jerick McKinnon was going to be hurt. I picked up Alfred Morris. Well, that's a big wah-wah. Markster then picked up James Conner in an attempt to just continue to block Andy from filling the gaps on his team. Lo and behold, James Conner, what a steal, 28.5 points as long as Le'Veon Bell is not there. And even if he comes back, I still think this by now is James Conner's team. The White Mamba, 15.5, although a costly fumble, not affecting Markster, but of course the real Vikings team. No one on Jeff's team is under 6. Watson and Fuller on the bench, 62.5 points, 42 by Deshaun Watson. Didn't matter. Fuller out for the season. That leaves a hole in Markster's lineup. Again, he doesn't seem overly concerned. If you're Andy, Russell Wilson, 22. New England's defense, finally. They said the first defensive touchdown in like 30-some games. 19 points, OBJ for 12. Not much to talk about. He's 2-6. He's looking for the end. He's trying to trade away players. What else can I say? Next up, the Pack Attack coming in at 4-3 versus the demonic love child of Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Pump coming in at 2-5, selling the farm. However, since then he has gone 2-0, 79 over the Pack Attack, 72.5. I think in some ways that both of these teams might be pretenders. Eric is now 4-4. However, his team seems good enough, but we're not sure. And Swore, too, can make a run at this and make the playoffs. Dalvin Cook ain't helping much. But Latavius Murray, what a pickup he has been, 14.5 this week. Mitch Trubisky, who I have zero faith in whatsoever, with 22. Baltimore's defense put up a 0. Now, this is the second 0 of the season. However, up until this, they were averaging 10 points a week. That could have come back to bite Swart. It did not. He survived 26.5 points by Adrian Peterson and Lamar Miller. Whoa, a Lamar Miller sighting. Get out. 14 points for him. Someone named Uzuma, there's a first name there. I didn't even care to write it down. Put up 0 points for Eric. His normal starting tight end, Jared Cook, he scored 12. Let's wait. 79, 72.5. Wish Bart was here, but I'm pretty sure there's your difference. Would have been a win. Could have gone to 5-3 instead. You're 4-4, 500. Just like these next teams, both trying one, trying to get to 4-4, one trying to avoid 4-4. Ryan Deason. And the only day of the year he isn't walking out in public getting called a freak on Halloween. And it's big old nasty, saggy, droopy, smelly, dusty, moldy, haven't been cleaned in several months. Titties and balls. Taking on the King of the North. And again, Ryan Deesum's team looks strong. Flat out for real. Absolutely for real. Marks's team for real. Marks, and I would probably say Linkowitz, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, look the best coming out of this. If you're the King of the North, yeah, he scored a lot of points. He's definitely not a joker. He's a pretender, borderline for real. We'll see. I mean, he may be running out of time. Of course, more whining. The Wambulance, it's on its way. Just wait. I know it. If you're decent, Andrew Luck finally finds his way into the starting lineup after being goaded into it, probably by Saltmarsh. 24 points. Alvin Kamara, 19.5. Taj Boyd, 18.5. Demaryius Thomas, only 3.5. However, he is heading off to a brand new team, the Texans. Will he be better there? We'll see. The Rams defense 6, although they played against the Packers offense, which was going to make anyone look pedestrian. That's right, the Packers rule. If you're Sid, Joe Mixon, 21.5. Marlon Mack, who has now been shipped off to Eric, 21 points, has had a great couple of weeks. Jordan Howard coming back is not going to be Marlon Mack. Sid, if you were looking to make improvements for this year, that trade wasn't necessarily one of them. Kirk Cousins, oddly enough, in the starting lineup, after acquiring Patrick Mahomes and after talking to Sid, he said, Mahomes is the starter all the way. Welcome to the headache, my friend. Welcome to the Humea. Now, not that I suffer from this, but when you got two quarterbacks, you ain't got none. Mahomes sat on the bench, 30 points wouldn't have mattered. On now to what I can only imagine after a 2.5-point loss is going to be a Hulkamaniac-centric Don't Be Salty.
Hello, my fellow monkeys. This is Don't Be Salty. Yep, we have saltiness happening this week, week 8. I'm your host, the Salties of Salts, Adam Saltmarsh. So before this salting, I think I need a change. Did I just transform into the salt shaker for this week's episode? No correlation to Halloween, but I tell you what, it is needed because this time, magic is happening. So you say to yourself, beginning of the year, who shall I keep? And I say, I'm going to keep 2 wide receivers. Some people say I'm going to keep a running back. Some people say, hey, I might even keep a tight end. I mean, that's a stretch, but hey, it's been done. Some people will say, hey, let's keep a running back, quarterback. No, not this guy. This guy says, I'm going to break the norm, and I'm going to prove to you folks out there in the FTFL land that kickers win games. Well, by golly, did it happen this week. You have Rodgers, the 15th best quarterback. You have Goff, the 4th best quarterback. But yet, you still play Rodgers. Because your whole miracle season was, Ted Gurley, Rodgers, Ted Gurley, Rodgers. That's what you thought was happening. and you are going to rise to the top to be the true king of the North. Well, let me tell you something. Rodgers' career is going this way. And I get it, Brady too. He's 41. I still won this week, so whatever. If you would have stuck Goff, you would have won, but no, you did not. It's time to get out with the old and bring in the new, just like that guy who kept that kicker. And on that note, believe, believe, believe in your people. Believe. As John says, I believe in my kicker. He deserves a place on my fantasy keeper list. Because they win games. Keepers win games. Kickers now win games. That's right. If you would have started 4 different players on your team, you could have won. But your efficiency rating was 64.8. 64.8. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know what to say. I mean, you had Sammy Watkins sitting on your bench too. 22 points. You started him the last couple weeks. Huh. Why you start him this week? Huh. Apparently, you didn't know you're going up against the keeper. Yeah, that's right, the keeper. So for that, my friend, Hulkamaniacs, don't be salty. Don't be salty. Don't be salty. Okay, week 9 coming up, my friends. And remember, don't be salty.
All right, I'm just finishing up my notes here from that segment. All right, first and foremost, the Salt Shaker costume, bang, loved it. That was absolutely amazing. The whole notion that maybe I should start Goff over Rodgers, did you huff a whole pint of glue before that? No one, and I repeat, no one is starting Jared Goff over Aaron Rodgers. That's stupid. You know what? Next week I'll have a segment that's called Don't Be Stupid. And maybe I'll include you and, of course, my opponent from this past week, Mr. Linkowitz, because let's be honest. I believe that this whole John keeping a kicker is the reason that John is 6-2 baloney is a giant flaming pile of garbage. Are you kidding me? John is not 6-2 because he kept a kicker. There's no magic behind that. He's a kicker. John is 6-2 because Saquon Barkley has panned out. John is 6-2 because his second round picks have panned out. John is 6-2 because Carson Wentz is back. John is not 6-2. You know what? So John's kicker played last. There's this whole John's kicker beat you. Pfft. No, he didn't. John's kicker helped to beat me. He just happened to be the last person in line. So, yeah, his points counted final. You know what, John? If you are so set, if you are so sure, so absolutely positive that your brand new philosophy, flipping the league on its head, introducing the chaos, whatever you want to call it, is the absolute impetus for what your team is doing this year, then I say it right here, right now. Come on the show. Call in. Send an email I can read. I want you to declare now that Stephen Gostkowski is one of your 2 keepers for next year, because by God, at 6-2 territory you haven't sniffed since God knows when. If that's the reason you are so much better, then don't let that slip through your fingers. I lay it down. I challenge you. Make him a keeper for 2019, or just stop talking about it, because it's foolish. Speaking of foolish, Tim Montgomery, you cost me. Next up, the Hulkamaniacs 4-3, taking on Team Linkowitz at 5-2, 79-76.5 in favor of Team Linkowitz. And of course, the Packers were about to get the ball back. 2 minutes timeout. Aaron Rodgers down by 2. Don't even need a field goal. Wouldn't even have to rely on a kicker. And you took the ball and you fumbled it, Tim Montgomery, and you cost me. Linkowitz, I woke up Sunday and I forgot that Philadelphia was playing in London. 28.5 points by Carson Wentz was pretty much the beginning and the end. The keeper notched 15. The fact that he was the second high scorer, again, does not justify where you hold him, how high you put him It just so happens that's what he did, and that the rest of your team didn't do much, because it was only now the third time all season you failed to break the century mark. The rest of your team didn't hold their weight. It wasn't that your kicker carried more than his share. If you're me, again, Todd Gurley, All-Star MVP. Yeah, he took a knee. Cost me the game. I would have rather seen the Packers win. And if you don't believe that, then you haven't been paying attention. But that's okay. He still is amazing. Chris Carson, 15. Alex Collins, 11. My running backs look great. You know who didn't look great? My wide receivers, 3.5 combined for my 2 starters. Of course, Sammy Watkins, you bum. You scored 3 weeks ago. I played you the following 2 weeks. You didn't do anything. I don't play you this week. You scored twice. Thanks for nothing, Sammy Watkins. Last game of the week, the Radioactive Monkeys 4-3, taking on the Architect at 2-5. The Radioactive Monkeys move forward with a 101 to 82.5 point victory. How about this? I don't know if I've ever seen this. All 3 Assaulters receivers, Hopkins, Evans, and Brown, all notched 23 points. 69 points between them. Wow, that's a lot. Philip Lindsay notched 13.5. If you're the Architect, Stafford again leads away with 22. Kenyon Drake 19. Devontae Adams 10.5. On the bench, you had Fitzgerald and Algahor, who combined for 23.5 points. In your starting lineup, you had Devin Funchess and Sterling Shepard, who combined for 5.5. That is an 18-point difference. You lost by 18. 18 would have gotten you to 1. No, you still would have lost. You know what? Every now and again, even I make a mistake. But I tell you what, I won't make the mistake of keeping a kicker, because that's just silly. On to the stud, the dud, the decent. Stud of the week, Salty's wide receiver trio. All 3 of them, again, 23 points, 69 points combined. What a week. The dud of the week, the player named Uzuma that scored a 0 and let Eric down. My wide receivers, take your pick, either or. They're both on the list. The decent update, me for not playing Watkins, Matt for his wide receiver situation, although again, you still would have then lost by 0.5 point, so you're probably okay. And oh, by the way, lest we forget, the last decent update that I have for this week, which has been every week to this point, that's right, you guessed it, John kept a kicker. Again, John, if you think so much of it, then make him a keeper right now for next year. Do it. Put your money where your mouth is. All right, looking ahead to next week, we got a huge inter-division matchup. Mana, 3-time Lucky Pants champ. You didn't send me all of the dollar you owed me, and you're going to find out in a moment. Mana at 6-2, taking on Ryan Deesum and the you-know-whats at 5-3. What a game that is going to be. Also, the other 6-2 team, Linkowitz, taking on the King of the North, who desperately needs a victory. 2 other teams looking for victories. Pack Attack 4-4, taking on the Pit of Misery, Dilly Dilly at 2-6, and the Hulkamaniacs at 4-4, taking on the Architect at 2-6. And lastly, did I get no? Oh, I can't forget. Saltmarsh, the Radioactive Monkeys at 5-3, taking on Pump at 3-5. As always, Andrew McBride, continue making strides, continue moving forward. He moved. I will get his address now to the new place where he's at. Please send him a letter. Anything. Something fun. Something good. Keep his spirits up. We're all behind you. I don't have any music. There's enough music going around on Halloween. Eat your candy. Say your prayers and take your vitamins. I don't know if those two go hand in hand. Hey, folks, 5 weeks left. It's crunch time. Until next time, this is Brett Sieber, FTFL Weekly Update, signing off. Peace!
Hey, it's your good old friend Bart. Got my family members together to Borg Hill. This is birthing on the end. That's Brody, and we're all going to do our best to count tonight. We got to split it up as best we could. So I guess here goes nothing.
What I'm doing, I keep having to start. I get to 10 and I lose track. Shh, don't be yelling at me.
Y'all get a whiff of that? Oh, yeah. Shh, quit talking. I'm trying to count.
10. Now, hold on, y'all. Just focus. Everyone's got to wake up, man. We all got to focus on what we're doing here to get it all counted.
20.
All right.
30.
Yes, 30.
I got
Y'all got 40.
Bart, I got 45.
Yeah. What's that going to
I
add
got-
up to there, Bart?
See, I got
What do we
my
got
10.
here?
Yeah, give me yours.
Better-
18.
better be
of those
$1.
little copper ones. Add that all together.
Stop.
I think we got
Well,
93
someone's gonna
cents.
get it.
Huh. Something don't seem right.